Chapter 12, Minitab. This activity includes 2 questions. You'll use the data in the textbook data set to answer the following questions. And the first question said some of the counties included in the data set had reformed their welfare systems in the past 10 years. An assumption of experimental design is that random assignment controls for differences between the 2 groups. In this case, we'll assume that the counties were randomly assigned to welfare reform or to maintain their current system. Question 1 has you exploring the effect of the welfare reform initiative using graphical displays, and you're going to select at least 3 variables that might be affected by welfare reform. You can use box plots, histograms, etc. Do you see any effect of the welfare system reform on the variables that you selected? For this demonstration, I'm going to look at the effect of the experimental welfare reform status in 2004, which is located in column C38, to identify the 2 groups, and I'm going to look at the effect of that welfare reform program on the infant death rate, which is located in column C60. And I'm first going to create box plots, so I'll go to Graph, Box Plot, and I'm going to do it with groups. And the first thing I want to do here is select the variable that I want to graph, which is the infant mortality rate, which is in column C60. And the categorical variable that does the grouping is the welfare reform variable, which is located in C38. And I'll just say, OK. And here's my box plots. And I notice there's not a lot of difference between the 2 groups, although there is more variation here in the group without the welfare reform. And there's also an outlier up here, so I might want to investigate further what county that represents and whether there are some other variables that I might want to look at to determine the effect of the no welfare reform on that particular infant death rate. The second question in this activity asks you to use the t-test to see if a county's welfare system reform status influenced the unemployment rate. For this demo, I'm going to look at the effect of the welfare reform status again on the infant death rate. And so to do that, I go to Stat, Basic Stats, a 2-sample T, and both samples are in one column, and then I want to locate the variable that I'm interested in using, and I'm going to go ahead and look at the infant death rate, which if you remember was in column C60, and my welfare reform program was in column C38, which has already been selected here. And I want to look at the options, and I want to make sure, I probably want to do a 95% confidence interval. It's going to calculate that for me. I'm hypothesizing there's no difference versus a not equal to alternative, and make sure assume equal variances is unchecked. And then OK. And now you can look at your output. And you notice here it gives us the mean for each of the 2 groups. Gives us the standard deviation. It gives us the hypothesized null here. The estimate for the difference, the mean difference. There's the 95% confidence interval. Here's the t-test. Here's the t-statistic, the p-value. And in this case, because the p-value is not very small, I failed to reject. I do not have any evidence that the death rate is different between the 2 groups, which was supported by the box plots that I looked at in question 1.